Guys, happy Monday. Josie here. Today you get just me for now as my co-partner, right? She got caught on a brokerage call, and sometimes that's just real estate for you. But today I wanted to come on still for our real estate unfiltered conversation. And literally within the last like 20 minutes or so, I think I was scrolling on socials and then I saw this post that started to tug at my heartstrings. There was this accident, right? The person who posted it was commenting how they stopped, they prayed with the family or whatever. But then at the bottom of the post, I noticed that they tagged like the local news station, local broadcaster, and another news outlet. And I was just like, really? Was that part necessary? And so that's what got me thinking, like, as someone who does marketing, right, for multiple different platforms and businesses, like there are certain things that it is okay to post and it's absolutely encouraged to post. And then there are certain things where it comes to social media that I really just feel like you shouldn't do. So I thought that'd be a good conversation today because I know not everybody is as comfortable with doing social media posting and things like that. Sometimes you might question, like, does it make sense to post this? And a big part of the answer to that question is going to be what is your true goal behind the post, right? So I was about to engage with this post until I saw the bottom of it, and then it just felt self-serving. So it wasn't about helping the family, and maybe it was in the moment, but why go and try to tag? Like, are you looking for an interview now with a news station because you were a kind Samaritan, right, that helped them? And so those are the things that I would caution you on, right? Because I guarantee I am not the only one who looked at that and that was the reaction. So if you're in the real estate space or just whatever entrepreneur space, things that I would encourage you to post, right? Just a day in the life, right? What does your normal day look like? So if, for me, I'm working on the computer, still working from the couch as my knee recovers, right? And things like that. Sometimes I might be out on a showing, or if our agents are out on showings, right? Or at home inspections, or even in like a class, a mastermind or something, literally all of those different types of things stay in the life, right? And then there's the BTS, the behind the scenes type content. People actually really like that kind of stuff. So taking the home inspection, for example, a step further, and maybe showing some of the negative things that are found at the home inspection. People super like to see those kinds of things, right? Whether it's a creepy spider nest that you found in an attic, your inspector has to go crawling in a crawl space underneath a house, right, where there's maybe no basement. Maybe they found some kind of funky, like handy doodad thing that was done by the homeowner to keep some pipes together. I've seen all sorts of pictures and all sorts of things, right? And those are some of the different kinds of things when you say behind the scenes. That's one example, right? It's specific to home inspections. Other behind the scenes literally might just be you choosing to work at a cafe today, right? It might be you prepping for a buyer or seller consultation. So again, if you're in the real estate space and if you're in a different industry, like what are the things that you do to prep for your day? What are the things that you do to prep for your clients and your customers? If you're an event decorator, behind the scenes could be like a fast forwarded video of you setting up an event space, for example. So all of those kinds of things people do like for content. It helps them understand what it is that you do every day and gets a sense for who you are as well, right? Um, and then I would also encourage you to post wins. So whether it's a win for you, whether it's a win for a customer or a client, people love to celebrate wins with you. The people who follow you, the people who engage with you, they want to see those wins, right? And so what are some of the wins that you can highlight? So if it's a closing post, for example, right? If it's someone who just went under contract, if it's someone who just celebrated a special event or something like that. Did you just have a client event, for example? So any feel good type content, I think, is an absolute must to share because, again, it helps people get a sense for who you are, where your heart is in the business, right? And then, like I said, people love to help celebrate other people. Then there's the flip side of things not to post. So if you are going to do like a closing post or something and you're going to include any personal photos, make sure that you're getting the permission of your clients because not everybody likes to be broadcast on socials, right? So they might be fine with you posting a picture of the house that closed. They don't necessarily want a picture of them in front of the house, for example, or them sitting at the closing table signing docs. So just be really careful from a legal perspective, right, that you're asking for permission for those kinds of things. Um, and then things not to post. So I would encourage you, right? Like once it goes online, it kind of lives there forever. So don't post something that you think you might regret like a year later or a year later, like a day later, really, right? So if you're having just the worst day, that's fine. And maybe you feel like you want to vent it out, whether it's in your stories or something of that nature. I would just be very careful to not get too personal, not too specific, avoid using names, things like that. You don't want to throw another agent under the bus necessarily so that you're not putting them on blast or potentially like hampering their reputation, for example. And so just all those kinds of things. Because even if it's something that you delete, once it's out there, like, is it ever really truly deleted, right? If somebody screenshot it, somebody could have did, a screen recording, depending on what it was. I have seen a lot of posts that people have done in the past that they have tried to take down, and yet by the time like it got into certain hands, like that mess just spread like wildfire. And so just really think, right? Are you about to post something that's going to really piss people off? Now, when there's politics, sometimes yes, you might still do the post, or if it's like, religious and it's about your faith, there are things that you are going to post. I'm not saying everybody needs to agree with your post. Just be sure it's not something that you are going to regret later. That is the point of what I'm saying, right? And so those would be some of the things that I would say to not post, right? And then, like I said, think about what is the reason for the post. So, is it brand recognition? A lot of times when we post things, it is going to be about brand recognition. Oh, here comes my partner in crime. So, a lot of times when we post things, it is going to be about brand recognition. It's going to be about just getting your name out there, letting people see your logo, your content, your houses, whatever it might be. Other times, some of the things that you might post are because you're trying to capture leads, obviously, right? You want business, you want referrals and things like that. And so, what is the reason behind the post? And so, we had recorded a class called Real Estate Agents Guide for Social Media Success, something like that.
Hmm.
It's in our store. And within that, we talk about kind of the 3 or 4 pillars, right, of social media. And so you want to engage, right, your audience. You want to entertain them. You want to educate them. And then for me, you also want to advertise, right? So it's 4 pillars. And so are you trying to post to engage? Are you trying to entertain? Are you trying to educate? Or are you trying to advertise as in ask for business? If you're not in one of those buckets, then what is the point of the post, right? Ideally, if it's advertising or even educating potentially, like hopefully there's some kind of call to action where you're pulling them in to that conversation as well. And inviting them, like, what's the next step? If I've taught you something, what can I do now to get more of it? Or is there a guide that you're offering? Or is there a consultation appointment that you're offering? Something of that nature, right? So that's a whole call to action. Maybe it's just that if you want the engagement, so you want them to comment, like, and share, right? And yet, whatever it might be, helping give them some direction on what you want them to now do with this post is a good thing. Um, so as you can see, I know I texted you before I hopped on, just talking about things to post or not post. And I don't know if you saw the beginning of the live, but the reason was I saw a post about like a car accident, and the person was saying how they stopped and they like saw the family getting out of the car. They prayed with the family, and I was about to engage with the post. And then at the bottom of it, they like tagged a local news station, local broadcaster, another news station. And I just personally really thought that that was very off-putting because I was like, really? So it wasn't just a really kind thing that you were doing. You're posting it because you want the news to
Clout.
right, like, right, and
Yeah.
so I'm not saying that I don't want people to share the good deeds that they do. I was all about the post until I saw that part. Like, That to me, low key, like maybe you should have just DM'd that to them privately if you really wanted them to kind of pick that up and interview you for staying and praying with family. Like, I don't understand the point of that, right? And so that's why I was like, really, some things just shouldn't be like posted or
Right.
tagged. You know what I mean?
I
So,
agree. I agree 100%. And it's one of those things that I see a lot of things on social media that I'm like, you should never have posted this. However, it it's their page, right? And so
right,
that's where I have to step back and be like, I just won't comment. I'll just pass by. I'm quick to unfollow, so that I don't get notified because that's the only thing I can control. Because
right.
there's a lot of people out there that honestly, the kids call it is a new thing like rage bait. People will post things just to get a reaction.
True. Yep.
And if like, there's a lot of things that have caught myself getting involved in and then spending entirely too much time in that rabbit hole because I'm trying to prove a point to someone who's just trying to get likes and follows.
Right. Clickbait. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rage bait is also a good one. Clickbait. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
Yep.
That makes sense.
So it's frustrating. I wish I really, how much I love social media.
No sarcasm.
Um,
Well, and
yeah,
that's why I thought it was a good topic too, because it could totally be someone who didn't realize. I mean, if you're tagging other entities, then you are savvier on socials than an average person, right? But for people who aren't comfortable with socials, who wouldn't question, is this something that I should post or not? Like some things really are just meant to be just for you, right? And some things it is
yeah,
okay to share. Like I shared I think it was in my story. It's not on my page, but like going to church last weekend with my knee and everything, I managed to drive or whatever. I don't have a problem with that. Like, yeah, I went to church. If you aren't Catholic and if you don't believe in God or whatever, then don't pay attention to me going to church. Like,
right.
but I am not trying to get clout, to use your term,
Mhm.
like I'm not getting points with God because I posted that I went to
Right.
church. Like the points that I would have earned would be from just going to church, right? Whether anybody knew about it or not. So it's just like your closings. Whether you post about them or not, your closings still happen. You know how much business you're doing. And I do think it's good to let other people know how much business you're doing in that sense because people want to do business with people who seem to know what they're doing in business, right?
Mhm.
And it's just like just being really mindful and cautious because, like you said, you don't want people to start unfollowing you because they're put off by your content, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. So, but y'all know, I mean, I was being like a smart ass. If you guys didn't catch on, I am the worst with social media. And the reason is because of exactly what Josie's saying is like I get all these things where it just makes me see the world in a different light and I hate it. And I know that's what it is, but it's just a lot of usually drama and attention seekers and it's one of those things that people usually post their highlights and it's easy to compare their highlights to your worst moments and then you start feeling like crap. So be conscious of what you're posting and don't just post for clickbait. Don't just post to get the clicks and the likes, but actually think about what I'm posting, does that add value? And that's really like because there's been plenty of times, and I'm sure you too, Josie, like you start posting something because you are like, oh, I'm gonna put this out there. And you're like, what good is it gonna do? Because it's not
Yeah.
adding any value. It's
Yeah. By the
not.
time you're done with the caption, you're like, okay, let me dial this back right now.
Yes.
Like, yes, I definitely, I mean, and there was even a post Friday. It was a good business post, but I was like, ooh, I don't actually know if Valerie wants me to put this out there, right? I mean, it was one of our listings that we accepted an offer, but it has a Hubbard clause. So I'm like, should I do a Hubbard post? Or should I just let it kind of sit there because it's technically active? And so for me, the education ability was there to explain what is a
Hmm.
Hubbard, that, if you're really interested, come and, put an offer on this property or whatever. And then she preferred that I didn't. She was like, maybe just hold off until it's actually fully under contract, which I can
Right.
understand. So like I paused, the post was ready, the graphic and everything. And then I was like, actually, let me just check. Most things I don't need to check with her, but if there's a reason to pause, then there's a reason. Something in my mind was like, I don't 100% know if she would be okay with this. And so I
Right.
just sent her the entire caption and then she appreciated me asking. She appreciated the thought and she just preferred to wait. So It's just that, like, just take a double second to think about before you drop
Exactly. That's it.
that post.
Yeah.
Uh, and I pulled it up because I wanted to make sure I didn't mess up the name. So on our website, the realestateoperationsinstitute.com, we have our store page, which got a lot of free and paid classes. And so this is the one I was referencing, the Real Estate Agent's Guide to Social Media Success. It is a free 1 hour class that comes with some amazing resources. And so this was not the point of me doing this today. And yet we have a full resource that you can spend a whole hour of us kind of talking about social media and tips on social media. We give you literally a 90-day content calendar. So especially if you're in real estate, that's super helpful. The caption starters, we give you call to actions. I was talking about those before. So there's a list of 100 call to actions. All of that you get for free. So you're welcome.
Yeah.
Go grab that. And then and if you ever have questions, I shouldn't say if you ever have questions, but if you're watching this and you have questions on a specific post or type of content and you just want an extra opinion, like feel free to drop it in the comment or DM us privately. Like I'm always happy to give feedback on things like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's your social media person. Trust and believe. So
Happy to be it. Yes. Well,
yeah.
thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm gonna go catch up with my business bestie here since y'all saw she just came on while I was talking to you all. So have an amazing week and we'll catch you guys next week.
Talk to you later.
Oh my gosh, where is the